Hello, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Eat Sleep Complete, and this is the year in review. This is my biggest stream of the year. Welcome, everyone. Come on in. Thank you, Hua, for the follow. Much appreciated. Thank you, Big Chill, for the celebratory. I do apologize. Sound alerts will not be playing this stream. It is scripted, so unfortunately, we're just gonna have to deal with that. Thank you all so much for being here. I greatly appreciate it. And hey, you know what? If you're watching this later on YouTube, if you're watching the VOD, I appreciate you for watching it on the VOD. Why don't you drop a subscribe while you're there? All right. So, real quick before we dive in, ladies and gentlemen, just gonna go over a couple things here. First off, we're going to, let me see here. Games are going to be pulled from the list of what I played this year. Platform does not matter. All that matters is that I played it this year. Also, this is a scripted stream, so if you have any questions, please save them to the end. I'm not going to be stopping to, I'm not going to be stopping to answer questions just yet. Let me see here. There we go. Okay, so after we go through our top 10, what we're going to be doing is looking at the results of the 2025 Gamer Score Off. It is by far and away the largest competition I have ever done on this particular channel. It was the entire year of 2025 and a massive gamer score race between both teams. And it gets really close. I'm just gonna say that. And then after that, we'll go over a couple of the stats from the channel for the year. I know you guys like when I give a roundup at the end of the year of how the channel's grown and what we're aiming to do next year. So that's going to be a whole lot of fun. So, welcome back. Come on in. You guys are just in time for the biggest stream of the year. Today, we're going to be looking back at the best of the best from my played games library of the entire year. And from what you can see on screen, there are over 650 games played this year that are vying for just 10 spots. Just 10. I won't be ranking games that came out only this year. It's only if I had not played them before. They're in the running. It doesn't matter if it was on DOS, it doesn't matter if it was on PS5 or an arcade cabinet at the local arcade or something streamed right here on this very channel. We've got a very crowded race this year. So many games vying for just the top 10 spots. So if you haven't, let me see here. If you haven't already, feel free to drop a subscribe on the YouTube channel or follow me here on Twitch. Really appreciate it. And it helps the channel grow, which I also really appreciate. Let me see here. So without further ado, let's get right into it. First off this year, we are going to have an honorable mention. We're not going to start off with number 10. This was something that I feel was necessary to go over, but didn't necessarily make the top 10 list. This year's honorable mention is Persona 3 Reload's Episode Aegis DLC. Now, you all know that during last year's stream, Persona 3 Reload was our #1 game of the year, and I played the heck out of it. It's something that I would consider one of my favorite games of all time. So when they announced that the remake was going to be getting additional story DLC, I was ecstatic. Side note, can we get more remakes, remasters, and re-releases getting additional content for older games? That's actually really, really cool. The Episode Aegis DLC takes place after the main event, or the main game, the events of the main game, and sees... sees my favorite character, Aegis, take the role as the main character for a change. Basically, stuff is still going sideways, the Dark Hour is still around, the main character from the base game is nowhere to be found, we gotta figure out what's going on. We get to meet a cool new character, get a little bit more of the really cool turn-based combat that we had in the base game, as well as new music, which I am a major fan of. And all in all, it was about an hour and a half of the same style content from the base game. Very welcome addition overall. For number 10 this year, we are officially on to our official list. It is Supermarket Simulator. Definitely not something you guys thought would be coming. Number 10 this year features a major player in the recent trend that seems to have taken Xbox by storm: goofy simulators. Yes, from chocolate factories to autopsies, from pigeons to supermarkets, everything is being simulated on Xbox this year. And to be honest, I'm kind of a fan. Supermarket Simulator is exactly what it sounds like. You and up to 3 friends can run a supermarket together and have fun with all the half-working jankiness that normally accompanies this kind of experience. While most of the game focuses on expanding your available products to sell, as well as expanding your store, you can also check out customers, restock shelves, and do inventory and price management. At least that is until you start hiring NPC workers to help lessen the burden. The whole game can be completed achievement-wise in about 10 to 12 hours, except for one achievement, which requires you to reach the maximum possible level for your store, level 99. Hitting level 99 takes about 60 to 70 hours of gameplay. So now you might be wondering, why is this game on the list if it is literally just a grind? And you know what? You'd be right. Normally, with these conditions, the game wouldn't be on the list. However, the game launched in such a buggy and broken state that I was able to take advantage of several glitches, which made grinding to level 99 actually pretty comical. For instance, did you know you can get XP for ordering supplies to your store? I didn't, and then I did, and I figured it out pretty quickly that with the near infinite money that you have, thanks to another glitch in the game, you can essentially just order 50 boxes of random product of stuff at a time and purchase whole levels of experience. Now I'm going to show you a couple pictures of the store. I've put it on screen here for you all to see, but safe to say, if you wanted to shop at Mega Costco, you would have needed to scale a mountain of cardboard just to get in the front door. The game is certainly not perfect, but it's the kind of goofiness that I look for in games that nets it a perfect 10. All right. Number 9 on the list this year is one game I never thought would make our list ever. Solitaire. Like the card game. Specifically, the Solitaire Conspiracy. I played this early in the year as a time killer, and I was really surprised that they managed to construct a story about espionage, double agents, and secrets that can shatter the world order, as well as a threat of global war. Again, did I mention this is a solitaire game? All of it was great. The live-acted cutscenes really added to the general vibe of everything, and at one point I asked, is that Greg Miller of Kinda Funny? Yes it is, which was also really neat. The game has a unique style of solitaire that can get hectic very quickly, and the end game levels is reminiscent of Pokemon Puzzle League, where you're swapping different suits back and forth trying to make matches as fast as possible to beat the clock. So certain moderators of this channel will want to check that out. This is one of those smaller games that doesn't really have to be as good or try as hard as it did, so please everyone support the devs on this one. Go check it out on your platform of choice. Now, for number 8, where did I leave it? It's around here somewhere. There's usually one of these every... Oh, yes, here it is. This is Return to Grace, our yearly entry for the really good walking simulator game. I played this one earlier this year when it was coming off of Game Pass, and I really wasn't expecting the experience I was in for. The game is set in a distant planet into humanity's future, and I'm going to try and avoid spoilers here, so all you really need to know is that. It's about you, the player character. You've been working with your ship's AI to try and locate something that's really important and what appears to be a newer, centralized religion for most, if not all, of humanity, but it has since been lost for very obscure reasons. It's also a bit confusing, like humanity has been thrown into a dark age spanning hundreds, if not thousands of years, and nobody really remembers why. But as I previously mentioned, we have fully sapient AI in space travel. so it's a bit odd that nobody thought to at least blog about the downfall of human civilization and organized religion. I can't get much further into the story without major spoilers, so I'm going to leave it at that. As far as everything else about this game, it's a vibe. You're not going to get it until you play it. There's a sense of angry stillness to this game, for lack of a better term. Like you're wandering through subtly hostile environments, like the very buildings themselves don't want you there. But at the same time, it's not a scary game, like at all. It's not meant to be a scary game. It's just the game itself is angry that you're playing it almost. It's like you're intruding on an event that you weren't invited to completely by accident. Now, vibes are hard to quantify, but if you're looking for an afternoon with a game that, in my opinion, has a pretty hopeful message to it, definitely check this one out. All right, number 7 is potentially the latest addition we have ever had to the top 10 games of the year. This year, our number 7 is Telltale's Batman: The Enemy Within. We wrapped up playing this game literally this week, and I have to say, this is probably my favorite Telltale game of all time. This one is essentially the Season 2 of the Telltale Batman games, and while Choir and I played the first one and we agreed that it was good, it was mostly focused on world building. Now this game is where all that world building pays off. Honestly, this is one of the most interesting takes I have ever seen of the Batman mythos. Since the game allows you to influence the events of the story by choosing a side, one side over the other, one character over the other, different actions playing out ultimately the same but in different ways, we decided early on that 2 things needed to happen above all else, that almost as if there were a hierarchy. 1, we would romance Catwoman, and 2, we would befriend the Joker at any cost. In the event that 2 of those points conflict, we would default to romancing Catwoman. And I have to say, I think across all the comics I've read, movies and shows that I've watched, and games that I've played, this might be the only case I know of where Batman legitimately being friends with the Joker happens even to his own detriment. Like, we legitimately fought against federal agents in defense of the Joker. It was wild. I'm not going to spoil anything story-wise, as it is a Telltale game, so it's all story. So you'll just have to play this one if you want to know more. Very highly recommend it. Congratulations, Telltale. So now, number 6 this year, let me just go ahead and kick in the door. FBI, open up. We've got Ready or Not. I streamed this one alongside Kill the Choir a bit earlier this year, with Embry joining us after we finished our initial run for the DLC and the hard mode run. Ready or Not is a game made by people who looked at games like Call of Duty and Battlefield and said, but I want a realistic and immersive first-person shooter. And then they went and made it. Void Interactive's FBI SWAT simulator is certainly interesting, but given how much goofing off we eventually ended up doing, I'm not sure I'd call it realistic, to be honest. This one's pretty straightforward. You're playing as a police officer assigned to a SWAT or infiltration team in a fictional city, and you're put into multiple different kinds of scenarios that real SWAT officers need to deal with. Gun runners, violent conspiracy theorists, kidnappers, cults, and the list honestly just gets worse from there, so I'm going to stop and keep the stream a bit PG. Take my word for it, you are dealing with the worst of the worst by the end of the game's campaign. Now, what I really like about this game is that it actually doesn't want you to go in guns blazing like other first-person shooters. You need to be tactical, careful, and communicate with your team, because all it takes is one lunatic with a gun flanking you, and it's game over. The unique challenge that we faced here is that there was an achievement for completing the game's campaign without killing anyone. Non-lethal takedowns only and the like. After much trial and error, Choir and I figured out that we could just put on the heaviest armor possible and load up with nothing but flashbang grenade launchers and turn every crime scene into a rave. Considering how many flashbangs were going off each level, the bad guys were very quick to give up and be arrested. Shout out to Embry for inviting us to do the DLC as well, because only one person needs to own it in order for up to 4 people to play, and the DLC isn't anything crazy to go over. It's essentially more missions of the same kind from the base game. However, the game is going to lose points when I do ultimately give it a personal rating for having bugged achievements in the DLC. All in all, I had a lot of fun with this one, so thanks to Choir for suggesting it, and we'll probably go back to it next year when the next couple DLC packs drop and resume our flashbang shenanigans. Alright, now, imagine, if you will, being able to jump into the minds of others, see what makes them tick, see what makes them them, and see what makes them broken in the way that they are. That, my friends, is the premise of our number 5 this year, Psychonauts 2. Originally releasing the first game all the way back on the original Xbox, Psychonauts comes from the golden age of puzzle platformers where wacky ideas and crazy stories were the norm. Considering I was a PS2 gamer back then, I never played the original Psychonauts. But, like most Tim Schafer games, there was a cult following for it that demanded a sequel. Well, when Double Fine was acquired by Microsoft, they finally had their shot and made this. And as someone who didn't play the original, I have to say, I really liked it. I can see why the fan base is so rabid. The game follows the main character Raz as he tries to start his official job with the Psychonauts. Think mentally superpowered FBI agents. Only to be turned away and told that his deputization by the founder and the head of the Psychonauts in the first game was more of an honorary thing. But they can start him as an unpaid intern. Side note, one of my main complaints about the game is how everyone is just a huge jerk to Raz for really no reason whatsoever. Raz, who at this point in the Psychonauts world has already saved the world with his heroes once, has to constantly deal with bullying by his fellow Psychonauts, and it doesn't really ever pay off. There's no, like, I told you so moment or anything like that. He just kind of, for lack of a better terms, earns their respect and is friends with everyone by the end of the game. This is one of the few times I think a crash out by the main character would be completely justified. But what follows an admittedly rocky start is a wonderful game with just the right amount of nostalgic platforming, collectible grabbing, and world traversing that really makes you feel like you're back on your original Xbox in summer of '02. I'll admit, the story gets pretty tense as it unfolds, and as I'm trying to avoid spoilers, I just want to say it feels like the game itself and the story itself deals with some unresolved issues from the first game, and it really gives Raz and his family some closure and peace at the end. I'd really recommend this one if you're looking for a game that captures the feeling of that one game on your PS2 from back in the day. Fantastic. Alright, number 4 this year is Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. It's not the original game. It is their newest game. For those of you who have watched this stream over the last couple years, you may remember Vampire Survivors and how highly rated and recommended it was. Well, since then we've had a flood of what is now becoming known as Bullet Heaven games, or Survivors likes. So the Deep Rock Galactic team saw this and said, hey, we can do that. And here we are. Deep Rock Galactic Survivor plays very similar to other Survivors likes. Top-down, multitude of weapons and enemies, and only one objective, survive until the boss appears, and then kill it. Deep Rock Galactic Survivor is on this year's list, not necessarily because it does anything too different or because it really stands out from the crowd, but more that it stands head and shoulders above all the other cheap imitations of Vampire Survivors that have released over the last year, as it understands the assignment. Vampire Survivors was a breakout hit that established the Bullet Heaven genre, and DRG Survivor took what made Vampire Survivors successful, translated it to their IP perfectly, and essentially made more Vampire Survivors, which is what the fan base really wants right now. I will say, of course, since Deep Rock is all about mining out precious materials, the mechanic that they added to the game that really makes it their game is mining out tunnels, and that is just fantastic. That is a genius mechanic, and it fits the genre perfectly. I cannot count the number of times I've been cornered by the swarm and just decided to dig into the wall behind me to create a choke point that I could better manage the oncoming wave of bugs with. This entry this year boils down to this. If you were a fan of Vampire Survivors, you need to be checking out Deep Rock Galactic Survivor immediately. It's on Game Pass. Alright, for number 3 this year, I figured I'd add one last entry in the simulation genre. Crime Scene Cleaner hit Game Pass this year and became an instant hit. There's crime scenes and you clean them. Now, that is a bit of an oversimplification. The story has you following someone who runs their own cleaning business, but is having a rough time attracting new customers, and when a buddy hits you up and asks if you'd consider cleaning up a crime scene for the mob, you know, bills piling high and your kid needs your support, you just decide to say yes. After all, you didn't do the crime, right? You're just cleaning up afterwards, and it's good money. Unfortunately, as the story progresses, the mob's boss notices just how good a job you do and begins hiring you personally for all his grisly business cleanup. Unfortunately, as the story progresses, the mob's boss notices just how good a job you do. Oh, sorry about that. The game is very zen in a gruesome sort of way, cleaning up blood, trash, and debris, even, you know, removing bodies from crime scenes. It has that vibe where you can kind of just shut your brain off for an hour and clean up a level to 100%. Now, one thing I do want to stress is that this truly isn't a gruesome game. The bodies are essentially just ragdoll NPC models, and the bloodstains are basically just red splotches on the walls and floors. The darkest thing about this game is the subject matter. Now, one other cool thing that they've done is release DLC for the game where you're playing through the same levels again, but the idea is that everything's haunted this time. I definitely had to play that with the lights on. Now, if you're a fan of things like Power Washing Simulator, House Flipper, or any other clean 'em up in the genre, you'll probably like Crime Scene Cleaner. Number 2 this year, I'm doing something a little bit unorthodox. Second place this year is a combination of 3 games. So say hello to your number 2 this year, Final Fantasy 1, 2, and 3. Square Enix re-released the first 6 games this year in the form of an HD upscaled pixel remaster. Earlier this year, I ended up picking up the bundle as it was on sale, with the intent of, you know, letting it sit on my backlog forever. However, the games looked really appealing as I was sitting in a Canadian airport on my way to Japan. Since the games are play anywhere, I was able to connect to the Wi-Fi and play them on my phone, and man, I just sunk my teeth in like it was the best game I'd ever played. Originally releasing back in 1987, the very first Final Fantasy is a classic, all about saving the world from the ultimate evil with your party, and it's overall a very standard fantasy experience. The mechanics are very straightforward: fight monsters, level up, get better gear, and to be honest, I enjoyed just walking back and forth on the overworld, waiting for another random encounter so I could wreck whatever popped up and work towards that next level up. Now, at this point, you might be thinking, Mr. Complete, JRPGs are hundreds of hours long. How did you do 3 of them back to back? And the answer, my dear viewer, is modern quality of life improvements. Rather than spend your time endlessly grinding, the modern re-releases have a multitude of options for you to take advantage of, including an XP multiplier, a game speed increaser, and an auto battle function. I have to say, I'm a big fan of JRPGs that give you the option to boost through all the pointless grinding. It's very respectful of the player's time and gives people an option to play the games in an accelerated way if they're just interested in experiencing the world and getting the story, which I very much am. Final Fantasy 2 and 3 have a very similar setup. However, you can tell that with the wild success of the first one back in the day, they were trying to innovate on their formula. Final Fantasy 2 sees the introduction of the job system, something I still don't fully understand. But essentially, it's a class system that provides buffs and debuffs, as well as weapon and armor restrictions based on what job your characters have. And as you can see by the ratings here on the side, it's very clear people didn't like the job system, as it's completely absent by the third entry as well. Final Fantasy III does away with the job system, but introduces an open-er world and mechanics that are used on the overworld map, such as shrinking to get into hidden areas, hidden groves with special monsters to fight, and a whole other secondary map to explore once you get control of the flying, time-traveling airship. I've decided to put all three of these together since individually they don't really warrant an entry on this year's list, but combined, they've been a wonderful experience and a solid reintroduction to a franchise that I really otherwise haven't been able to get my head around for years. Considering that this also gave me the strength to stay awake for 2 days straight and survive a trip to the other side of the planet, I'd say second placed is the least I can do for them, and I'm very much looking forward to entries 4 through 6. Now, as is tradition, before we jump into our final entry on the list and our winner of the Game of the Year, I would like to bring up the opposite award first, the biggest disappointment of the year. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the biggest letdown of 2025 is Assassin's Creed Shadows. Now, as anyone who knows me, and has heard me open my mouth for at least once, will tell you I'm an Assassin's Creed fan. And as any Assassin's Creed fan will tell you, the mythical Golden Goose, the ultimate assassin experience that the fanbase has been pining for almost 2 decades now, is getting to be a ninja assassin in feudal Japan. The fanbase has been crying for this game to be made since the franchise first gained popularity, and Ubisoft have gone on record in the past saying they weren't interested in making a feudal Japan Assassin's Creed, and that they weren't even sure the story would set, or the story in that setting would fit with the overarching image of where things would go. Well, before you get excited and start looking for a copy, let me tell you, this wasn't the big crescendo that the franchise has been waiting for. Indeed, it seems like Shadows was more along the lines of Ubisoft's in case of impending financial ruin, break glass situation. Ubisoft has been having a terrible year thus far, with projects getting delayed and cancelled outright, dwindling sales numbers on their existing projects, and bleak prospects for the future, as it truly seems they've run out of ideas for what gamers want. Kind of a slap in the face that Clair Obscura Expedition 33 is made by former Ubisoft devs, eh? But we're here to talk about Shadows, and to be overall, it's really kind of bleak. Shadows has a really interesting beginning, introducing you to the world as well as our two main characters, Naoe and Yasuke. Unfortunately, the moment it lets go of your hand after the tutorial section, everything just kind of falls apart. The story appears to be structured in a way where the main bad guys you have to kill are in a tiered order, like you're intended to kill bad guys 1 through 3 before moving on to 4 through 6. The problem here is that there's really nothing stopping you from just going and killing any bad guy you want, regardless of the intended story order. Because of this, the story ended up being incredibly disjointed, to the point that I had killed about 80% of the main story's targets before the Assassins, as an organization, were even mentioned in an Assassin's Creed game. Ultimately, as I realized during the process of writing this script, that disjointedness is present in just about everything. The side quests don't really appear in any given order, nor do they need to be done in any given order. So you're essentially just running endless errands for people. The side bosses are already on the map, even if you haven't found the corresponding quest for them yet. So if you're just out exploring and you accidentally kill one, it'll give you the side quest for killing them. But then you just go and talk to someone you haven't spoken to yet and let them know that the person they wanted dead is already dead. Nothing about this game makes any sense from a narrative standpoint, and it's essentially like they originally wanted to make this a full open world game, but then they forgot that they need to have a sectioned storyline that allows for the open world model, and then tried to shove a linear style game storyline into the open world framework. And really, what this all leads to is just a massive crisis of identity for the game. It has no idea what it's about. It's constantly trying to distract you with things that might lead to something cool, but never do, or a story that might be interesting, but never is. And it has no idea how to tie anything together, so as a result, all you end up with is your hands full of plot threads that are cut short and lead to nothing. To say I was disappointed in this game is an insult to disappointment. Ubisoft really ought to be ashamed of releasing such a half-baked game. Maybe it is better for someone to buy them up soon. All right, Assassin's Creed rant over. You all came here for one main reason, and that is to find out what the game of the year is. The game that stands head and shoulders above all others and really stands out and makes you say, wow. This year's number one entry is Metaphor ReFantazio, baby, the breakout new franchise hit from Atlus, and of course it takes the big win this year. Really, we all should have seen this coming considering just how much praise I had for Persona 3 Reload last year. A new game by the same team with such an amazing score, a story that'll grab your attention and not let go, and colorful cast of characters. Of course it was going to take first place this year. Metaphor ReFantazio takes place in our world a couple thousand years from now after a major cataclysm has forced humans to evolve or die. This, combined with genetic manipulation, has resulted in humans becoming just about every fantasy race you can think of: elves, pixies, cat people, dog people, the works. The story follows the unnamed player character who is just trying to get by before he's thrown into a grand conspiracy. The king has died, a successor must be chosen, but with so many people vying for the throne, as the king didn't have an heir, the church of this world decides that there will be a competition. Anyone will be able to campaign for king, the player character included. I really am struggling not to spoil the entire plot for you right now because Metaphor is just a perfectly crafted game that has just the right amount of build-up leading to one of the biggest reveals at the end of the story I have seen in any game in years. I cannot hype this game up enough. It's on Game Pass. It's been out on disc for a good long while now. I don't care how you get a copy. Get one and play it. Well done for Atlus and Sega. I think this is the first time a developer and or publisher has taken 2 consecutive first places in a row. So, that does it for the top 10 portion this year, folks. We're now going to take a look at the 2025 Gamerscore Off. This year's competition was, and we're going to be in a little bit less of a scripted situation here, this year's Gamerscore competition took place over the entire year, ending just this morning, after starting January 1st, 2025. 24 contestants, 12 months, 2 teams, 1 prize, and a metric ton of Gamerscore. Now, the teams that were brought up, we have Team Gibbons and Team Grebes. We have Team Gibbons captained by Shakaso, Team Grebes captained by myself. Gibbons is employing the help of Embry, Vudix, Exotic, Star Wyvern, Please Gib, Polysemic, Brad the Titan, Moto in Motion, Ray, Zombie Hunter, and Hyper Ninja. Team Grebes is employing the help of Kingdom, Noth, Lonsta, Kill the Choir, Banco, Demonair, Jally, Von Lucier, Cap Cadet, Payne Jr., and Scout Surge. Now, I don't have a whole lot of fanfare here. I'm not going to go over each and every month and, what everyone earned every single month. I'm just going to give you the final results. And we're going to start with the people that earned the least over the last 12 months, ending with the people that earned the most. There will be a live count of the total team's score above their names. Get ready, everyone, as we announce the winners of the Gamerscore Off 2025. The least earned for both teams, Moto in Motion and Cap Cadet, followed by Hyper Ninja and Jally, Please Gib and Payne Jr., Zombie Hunter and Von Lucier, Embry and Demonair, Polysemic and Scout Surge. We're starting to get up into the bigger numbers here. Star Wyvern and Kingdom is Lost. We've now broken the 100,000 mark. Ray and Kill the Choir. Both teams now breaking the 100K. Brad the Titan and Lonsta de Monsta We now have players breaking 100K themselves. Exotic and yours truly earning well over 500,000 gamer score this year. And we have a team that has officially broken the 1 million mark. Shakaso and Noth the God. We now have a player who's broken the 1 million mark themselves. And last but not least, everyone, Vudix and Banco Billy. Vudix earning an unbelievable 2.2 million gamer score this year, with both teams breaking 4 million gamer score total. The winners are Team Greebs! Congratulations, everyone on Team Greebs! Congratulations all. Congratulations to both people on everyone on both teams. Everyone on both teams put up one heck of a fight. It came down to the wire. But Team Greebs pulled ahead that much more at the end of December. So I'd like to congratulate Banco, Noth, Lonsta, Kill the Choir, Kingdom, Scout Surge, Demonair, Von Lucier, Payne Jr., Jally, and Cap Cadet. Now, per the rules of the contest, everyone on this team is going to receive a 1-month subscription to the channel completely free of charge, courtesy of yours truly. And the top 3 will receive a game within reason.
Yes, that means I'm buying myself a game. Shut up.
Congratulations again to everyone who participated. This was a massive contest. The fact that 24 people pulled 8 million gamer score in a year is absurd. Disgusting. I love it. Congratulations, absolutely everyone. I will reach out to everyone after the fact once prizes have been sent out. And we're not going to talk a whole lot about next year's competition. That is still in the works. I would just like to say next year's competition is not going to be year-long. We are going to be fundamentally changing how the competition works. And as such, I'd like next year's to be sort of a trial run. We're not going to do like a 1-month thing. It'll be a multiple month-long thing, but I don't want it to be the whole year, if you catch what I'm saying. More information to come. If you are not on the Discord, join the Discord. So that way you can stay up to date with the streams and the competition. All right. As we come to our close here, and I'll get to your questions. I've seen you guys asking questions despite the second slide saying, hey, save them to the end. It's whatever. I'll get to them in just a moment. We're going to go over some of the stats from the channel for the year and where we're headed next year. So, yearly channel stats. How much did your team win? Okay, we'll show that real quick. It came down to a matter of about 100 to 130,000 gamer score was the difference at the end. You can see right up here and then over there with Team Gibbons. That is the totals for both teams at the end of the year. Thank you all. All right. Yearly channel stats. This year, we had 36 new followers and 23 new subscribers. Thank you all for, hanging out, joining the channel, making it grow. We appreciate it, and we're glad to have you. You guys watched me for a total of 1,200 hours or more. Thank you so much. I can't thank you enough for all the support. Our top 4 games this year, according to Twitch, were Metaphor ReFantazio, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Oblivion, which still isn't done, and Ready or Not, which I was in the top 10 streamers for, or top 10% of streamers for Ready or Not. 134 total streams this year, which Embry was here for each and every one of them. You guys sent over 12,500 chat messages this year, clipped the channel 27 times, and the top emote of the year was Embry No, which you can see popping up in the chat here. I believe the next one is in no particular order. This is, again, stats provided by Twitch. These are the top 9 people according to Twitch. Let me get out of the way so Star Wyvern can be on screen. There you go. Again, no particular order. This is just Twitch saying, hey, these people showed up the most. So thank you to each and every one of you. Payne Jr., Von Lucier, Star Wyvern, Jally, Kingdom, Kill the Choir, who's even on stream, so that kind of makes sense. Polysemic, Embry, and Hyper Ninja, thank you all. You guys are in the top 9 of the channel according to Twitch. Greatly appreciate your support. And then I believe the next one is from Sound Alerts. You guys play, you know them well. You've heard them over and over again. Let me just lean out of the way here. According to Sound Alerts, you got over all of 2025, you guys played Bonk the most, for a total of almost 16 minutes worth of sound clips. Bonk is like a 3-second clip, so thanks. Kingdom had the most alerts this year, and a total of 297 alerts were played, which puts me in the top 17% of people that use sound alerts. So thank you all so much. Let me move to the Q&A section here. Let me scroll up back through chat. I'm just going to put the end card here, and let me go ahead and scroll up a little bit. So hello, everyone. Hello. We are now in the Q&A section here. I'm just going to real quick go back through the chat here. Big Chill. First of all, it's not spelled Aegis. It's spelled A-I-G-I-S, so Aegis, and that's how it's pronounced in game. Your number 10 game on the list is because the game was broken? Well, yes, because that made it funny. Oh, broken games are funny. Let's see here. The Solitaire Conspiracy Von Lucier is not on Game Pass, but I believe it goes on sale fairly regularly. It is absolutely worth supporting the devs, though. Let's see here. Where are the Chocobos? Well, the Final Fantasy 1 through 3 was number 2, so there's the Chocobos. Let me see here. Isrit with mac and cheese, Butterfinger ad. They know my net worth. Thank you, Hua, for the follow. Thank you, Isrit, for the sub with Prime. It's greatly appreciated. Is that what you were doing on the 13-hour plane ride while the rest of us were sleeping? Von Lucier, the channel name is Eat, Sleep, Complete. If I'm not eating or sleeping, I'm playing video games. It's that simple. Let's see here. Cool Kid Joe, we have this problem on occasion where people will sub with Prime, but it just doesn't show up for me whatsoever, but it goes through. But as Kingdom said, you do have the crown next to your name now, so it did go through, at least on Twitch's end. My apologies. Yes, so Big Chill, that is the one thing that you cannot do in Assassin's Creed Shadows. There are 2 enemies that you cannot pursue until the end of the story. But you can just completely go and kill everyone and then go and fight the main character. Let's see here. Flock was not my game of the year, no. Let's see here. This year was on 2x speed. It absolutely was. This year flew by. Let me see here. Oh my goodness, so many people. What's your favorite dinosaur? The Stegosaurus. Next question. Let's see here. Because I overslept, can I watch the VOD early? I don't want to wait months. I am actually going to download the VOD and put it up on YouTube for immediate release after this is over. I will link it in the chat and tag you, Embry. Do not worry. This is one of those streams where it's just going to go up immediately because it's, a big milestone, big deal. On the picture you included of the box art, it was spelled Ooh. Interesting. Then maybe I grabbed art wrong, or like incorrect art or something like that, because I could have sworn it was AIGIS. Either way, it's pronounced the same. Favorite person named Isrit. Probably Isrit 101. Really set the bar high. Isrit 102 is just kind of like a cheap copy of I'm kidding. I'm so kidding. It is Isrit 102. Let's see here. Let's see here. My 2 million gamer score achievement was in Stray for taking a nap, and I unlocked it while taking a nap. That's iconic. Favorite moderator? Man, I love all my moderators, but Sir Sar is just one step above everyone else. Favorite McDonald's menu item? The apple pie. Without a doubt, the apple pie. Should start making best of videos. I would love to, actually. That is, so we'll talk a little bit about the channel and where it's going. So we continue to grow as a channel. We're on the cusp of, I think, breaking 200 followers. And I'm not really monitoring the subscriber count just because I do this because I love it. And if people want to subscribe to me, I really do appreciate it. It's not necessary, but I'm glad that people enjoy the content. But that is one of the things that I would love to do, is kind of like a best of on either a monthly or a yearly basis. Right now, we're really leaning hard into the YouTube shorts. You guys have probably seen me on pop up on your YouTube Shorts feed relatively recently. I've only really started leaning into it since like October, November. But we're going to continue with that. The goal is essentially to have a video dropping every single day. Monday, Wednesday, Friday is going to be our usual release schedule of the main channel VOD content, and every other day of the week is going to be a YouTube short. We've seen a massive amount of growth on the YouTube channel from the YouTube shorts. People really like them, so we'll keep making them. But I would love to have like a yearly or a monthly roundup. So I really do appreciate all your guys' support, and I really do appreciate you guys showing up, not just for this stream, but for all the streams that I do. I like I said, I do this because I like it, but honestly, we've built quite the community here already, and it continues to grow every day, every month, and I really do. I'm really glad that this is how things have turned out and are turning out. This is it, honestly, quite frankly, what I envisioned when I first started streaming. So I am really appreciative of everyone's support, and thank you for making 2025 such a great year for streaming. This was a crazy year. I got married this year to my best friend and the love of my life. I went on a mini honeymoon that was phenomenal. I went to Japan, which isn't even our honeymoon. And it was one of the best trips of my life. I do want to go back, and I can't wait to go back. And there's going to be a video on the Japan trip eventually. Otherwise, I'm going to still keep getting emails from Apple about my iCloud storage being full. That's so sweet. Who is that? Who do you think? You guys are asking all. Oh my goodness. Will there be more Lego Batmans in Japan when you go back? I'm hoping, Cool Kid Joe. I really am hoping. I'm kind of surprised at the sheer lack of Lego Batmans, but just because we cleared out one area of Tokyo of 360 games doesn't mean that we haven't cleared out all of Tokyo of 360 games. So we'll just have to look elsewhere. Something else to look forward to in the new year? Absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said earlier, the contest for next year is not going to be all year long. I'll announce on the Discord the new rule set, and I will. Oh, we're in the end game. Oh no, the lettuce stream is happening next year. All right, I guess the lettuce stream is going to happen next year, and let's just say one stream in particular that you guys have been waiting for, that I've owed you since we were in the condo, is happening next year. It involves me using a stovetop. So get excited for that. Did you see the giant salamanders? I did not. But let me see here. So we've got a lot of big projects in the works for 2026. If half of them actually release next year, I will be overjoyed. So thank you guys so much. I think we're going to call it there. If you guys haven't followed on Twitch, go ahead and follow on Twitch. If you haven't subbed on Twitch and you want to, do it now and I'll thank you live. And if, hey, you right there, if you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, because it's going up right after this, if you're watching this on YouTube and you haven't subscribed on YouTube, please subscribe on YouTube. I really like seeing the subscriber number go up. You'll catch all the clip highlights from the streams, and you'll be able to catch up on any VODs. All of the old Assassin's Creed content has been uploaded and is essentially just waiting to drop. I believe by March of next year, it'll be done, and the entire Assassin's Creed playthrough will be up on YouTube. So, we're not doing the hot tub stream. Thank you, Isrit, for the follow. Much appreciated. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. I've got a couple other things I got to do today in preparation of a D&D game. But thank you so much for showing up. I love you guys. You're the best. And I will see you all. I was going to say next year, but there's going to be a stream on Monday and Tuesday this week. So I'll see you guys Monday and Tuesday. Have a good weekend. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.